We're almost there. We're almost through them. Whew. Okay, we got through them. All right. Yeah, I was finishing up a call with the Hypercycle peeps. So again, just kind of going over the stuff like you guys know, tilling, the free tilling is coming to an end. I mean, there's a lot going on, but as far as that goes, there's going to be tilling as a service, where if you just have licenses, but you don't have equipment and you don't have tokens, you'll be able to basically pay some tiny amount to have those licenses continue to till, because in order to till, there have to be tokens from somewhere to plug in. So right now, the way it works is everybody who's getting free tilling, it's because HyperPG is using their tokens to plug in so that your licenses are effectively tilling. But that's going to come to an end because HyperPG is going to be doing that with their own licenses, obviously. So that's going to roll out kind of in these phases, and and again, I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but it's going to be pretty soon, like in the coming days or week or weeks. Simply having licenses without the tokens ain't going to cut it. If you have married, for those that marry their licenses to their tokens, they will continue with the tilling. And for those that only have licenses, you can elect to do so. So there you go. All right. So and they're talking about the technical aspects of that and how they would roll that in. So that's all that's good stuff. Market wise, I mean, you got a lot of kind of big, heavy stuff going on, mostly Bitcoin. And I mean, you have the German government selling, I think they have another 40,000 Bitcoin to sell. So it's pretty clear the German government just gives zero craps about anything. They're just like, destroy the market. I would not be surprised if in the German government, there's a bunch of people that are shorting Bitcoin as they sell, knowing that they're selling, another 40,000 Bitcoin and they can just pound the market. I am 1,000,000,000% certain that there are some sauerkrauts over there making money off of this in a way that we would find kind of sketchy, but it is what it is. So it's a known now. MT Gox is also selling a shitload of tokens at the same time. So you have the German government with seized Bitcoin offloading 40,000 Bitcoin. You have MT Gox beginning their 10 billion in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash repayments. And that triggered some panic selling offing. So, we were below 54K today. What I was looking for earlier, non-farm payroll and unemployment data came out, which actually was worse than expected, which is market better than expected. Because if it's worse than expected, then we're closer to rate cuts. And even though it doesn't mean anything, the psychology of it does mean something. And the Federal Reserve, we're going to cut rates one time at the end of the year. Bullshit. You'll do whatever the news tells you to do, because you're always behind the ball. So the Fed will, and they'll repackage it. Oh, well, we've decided for different reasons. For different reasons, we're going to sell. We're going to lower rates. Not the reasons we gave you for raising rates. For different reasons, we're going to lower it. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yes. So can you marry? Yeah, you've been able to marry tokens for a while, but there's not been a benefit to it. It's just, and no one has to do anything this second. But there will come a time here in a couple of weeks where the free tilling of the node licenses is just over with unless you've married. So that's why I'm telling people you do you, but if you don't have the appropriate hypercycle tokens to fill your node licenses, you should consider your options while things are cheap. That's all I'll say. Do it, don't do it, whatever. Whatever you do or don't do that, but consider it. Makes sense. Okay. Not knowing what income might be generated by marrying node license. What is the best guess of number of licenses is the average Joe or Joe? What reasonable return? Well, in the beginning of your question, you said not knowing what income. So the second part of the second question can't possibly be answered based on the first part of the first sentence. Can't have both. I don't know what the number is. How much is the number times 7? What? I don't know what X is. How many X's do I need to be rich? You don't know what X is. Until you have X, there's no way to know. Okay. Let's see. If we have married license with tokens, yes, licenses that are married will be tilling. You're not going to have to do anything. They're going to plug that in the background. At least that's the way Dan explained it. And Dan's like the guy. That's the way Dan was explaining it this morning on the call. And that's with all the executive people talking back and forth about what their progress has been during the week and all that kind of stuff. All right. So there's that. Neil asked, is there a way to tell if you're tilling after you marry your tokens? Well, probably not yet. They're going to shift. Those licenses are tilling kind of until further notice. And then they'll unplug their tokens and plug in your tokens. I don't know how all that technically is going to go. And it's not, again, that's not something I don't think they've even done that this second. So there's not anything you have to do this second. Again, in the coming weeks, but not this second. All right. Mark asks, I watched previous video. You mentioned Hypercycle can generate revenue from not only AI compute, but other means. Yes, it is cool. There's all sorts of things that this kind of infrastructure ecosystem can provide. Think of it as, it really is plumbing. It's a kind of plumbing, but it allows different AI algorithms to work among other AI algorithms, even if you as a business client, so let's say you're running some algos and you get some requests for compute from you. You're not Hypercycle, but you're a business partner. You can leverage all the other companies' AI to help you manage your compute task and then just cut them all a little portion of it without them having to disclose all of what's in the sausage. Does that make sense? So everybody gets to work together to solve problems, and you don't have to turn down a compute task. It allows a lot of AI to work together, which is really cool. It allows a giant community of businesses and AI algorithms to communicate and collaborate effectively, which, as you know, is expensive and costly and slow right now, very slow. And when I say costly, I mean electrically, compute intensive, electricity intensive, all that kind of stuff. So if you can ease that burden and you can let everyone work together, you have a cool kind of matrixy environment, kind of like a brain and a bunch of neurons firing and working together in different, right. You get it. Yay. Is the German government selling on exchange or wallet to wallet? They are selling on exchanges. This is how assholey the German government is. They're not doing any OTC. This is straight to Binance, straight to Coinbase, straight to Kraken. It is a very clear FU to the crypto community. It's also very clear that the Germans, nobody over there believes. They don't believe in crypto, or they do and they're scared of it. So they're dumping Bitcoin as a ha-ha, or because they've invested on the other side of it, on the short side, and it's just a bullshit trade for them, which is kind of scammy. But would you expect anything different from the Germans? I would not. Okay. Let's see. Would you say that again? I don't know what that is, Beth. I have extra licenses without tokens. What is happening? Well, right now they're tilling. Pretty soon they won't be. What are my choices? Buy tokens to fill them so that when free tilling ends, you marry them, or you could pay for tilling or not. Those are your choices. And yeah, you could sell them. Of course, you can sell them. But the whole free tilling thing is not, first of all, I was against that. Like, think about that for a second. You don't have the tokens for the licenses, but you have the licenses. HyperPG plugs the tokens in for free. Why? Well, because why? You have the license, which is cool, but you don't have the tokens. Why should you get free tilling? You don't have hardware. You don't have tokens. Why on earth would, and why would anyone even expect that? I don't know how all that, again, that's not one of the things that I agreed with. From the very beginning, my voice was quieted. They just were like, no, and they just wanted to, but anyway, no one should get free tilling. Doesn't make any damn sense. So this is the way it should be as they get ready to kind of roll out compute. No one should be able to just buy licenses and get, it's like you just buy a computer and park it in your garage, and what, you get paid for running an internet business? Yeah, you're running a business. What business? Well, I bought an Apple computer, therefore I'm running a business. Did you start a business? No. Is the computer open? Nope. Okay, then why are you getting paid? Business, bro. So the free tilling thing was a cool little incentive, but I was never really a fan of it. And the reason the token price has gotten demolished is because of free tilling. Because people are like, well, why the hell would I hold the token? They're not thinking that if they sell and put a little cash in their pocket, and then people go on the other side of it like, oh, well, now I have to buy the tokens to marry to my licenses. What do you think happens? What do you think happens to the price of the token when the aggregate seller becomes the only buyer? When the seller of last resort, there's only buyers. It's going to go the other way. And then a lot of people are going to get left behind trying to nickel and dime. Oh, I made $40. Cool. You lost 70,000 because now you don't have enough tokens to marry to your licenses. You have dormant licenses, or you're doing tilling as a service, which is cool. Now, some people might just buy licenses just to farm the licenses, meaning you would buy the licenses, you would do tilling as a service, you would till up those licenses so they had a really high ranking, and then you could sell them. And a lot of people might come in and go, man, I don't want to wait 6 months, 9 months. I want to be splitting now. I want to get my splits in. And for those people, they would just buy a license that's got a longer tilling history. So you could be a licensed farmer. I still think that's short-sighted, but it is, you would make money. You could make money flipping licenses. It just seems like, I mean, it's a picks and shovels play. It's kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe it's kind of cool. I had originally thought about that. Just get a crap load of licenses and just till them. But yeah, anyway, this is where we're at. Okay. HyperShare shows licenses pays out in HYPC. The HyperShare pays, it's not paying out in Hypercycle. It's paying, there's two different kinds of paying. There's paying the other nodes to communicate. That's through Hypercycle. Because remember, the Hypercycle token is a container. I don't want to do a fucking hour about hypercycles. This is probably going to be the end of this. Like, we're going to bring this to an end. But the hypercycle token, the native token, is a container. It's a container for transactions. It can hold all sorts of things. It can hold Bitcoin. It can hold Ethereum. It can hold all sorts of things. It can hold big piles of data, whatever. So the token is a container. It sends, the token goes back and forth among nodes. Okay? Among hypercycle nodes. That's how communication is done. that is a node paying another node with data in a hypercycle. The way, at least the way it was as of this morning, and the way it's always been internally, is businesses are not going to be paying in crypto. Businesses don't want to have anything to do with crypto, but they might want to run AI compute. Well, they will run AI compute. They have some compute that they're running it across hypercycle rails gives them all those benefits of collaboration and communication. Right, great. They're not going, businesses aren't going to go, oh, I better go get some hypercycle to pay for compute. Right, that's obviously stupid. So they would just pay with regular money units. And Hypercycle as a company would convert some of those money units to USDC and pay that out that way. Now, some people may elect, I'm sure you'll have the option of being paid in either Hypercycle tokens or USDC. You could probably elect, like, I'll have this one. Then they would go to the market, buy the tokens, give you the token, like whatever mechanism they use. But if dollars come in, dollars go out. If dollars are paid in for the service, dollars is what you will get as a business owner. You may elect to get paid in other things. When anybody that's used Pro Hashing or NiceHash, I was using Pro Hashing a while back a lot, and you can just get paid in any token you want, or even in a bundle of tokens. I was always getting paid in like part Bitcoin, part Ethereum, and then I would have my spammy gambling coins. And you get paid, like, you're getting paid in real time. It's pretty badass. For anybody that hasn't messed with Pro Hashing is pretty cool. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So yeah. Okay. And I don't know when to expect compute. I just don't know. I don't know when. I already expected it. They're testing it. They just have to feel comfortable with it. So anyway, we got a lot of macro stuff to cover. So anyway, let me go through the macro stuff real quick, and then we'll go behind the wall. The macro stuff is MT Gox is shitting all over us. The German government is shitting all over us. Although, to be fair, the MT Gox, I'm not a hater. I'm not even mad at people that have been waiting for 10 years to get paid back. Like, they deserve their money. Come on, enough is enough. But I would imagine that most of the people that are actually getting tokens are going to sell them. They're definitely going to sell their Bitcoin Cash. I bet Bitcoin Cash just gets destroyed because no one gives a crap about that. Anyway, job growth has slowed in the U.S. Surprise, surprise. The U.S. added 206,000 jobs in June against market estimates of 190, declining from the 272,000 non-farms added in May. Which that's, by the way, is a bullshit number, which will be revised downward. Moreover, the unemployment rate increased. So people losing jobs to 4.1% against market expectations of 4%. Also, average hourly earnings for all employees in U.S. private non-farm payrolls increased by 30 basis points, 0.3% to 35 in June, following a 0.4 increase the prior month and slightly below market forecast for a 0.4 gain again. So less people employed. The average hourly earnings are not going up to the degree that everybody thought. Do I have a kitty in here? Hi, kitty. Yeah, so more fuel to the rate cut fire, and it also gives the Fed some ammunition to backpedal, because Jerome Powell has to say everything's great, strong economy and all this, but he also is not stupid. He may not be, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking these guys are stupid. They say stupid stuff, but behind closed doors, I just don't think anybody's that stupid. No one is that stupid to believe the things that he says on a regular basis. He just can't be that stupid. He's not Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen is a very well-educated, very stupid person. It's mind-boggling how dumb she is. And she believes what she's saying. That's, you look into her creepy eyes and you're like, oh my God, she really drank the Kool-Aid and then like went to the Kool-Aid thing and like dunked her head in it. But Jerome Powell seems like he's towing the party line. He's saying what he has to say, but behind closed doors, he's like, this economy is a dumpster fire recession. So anyway, According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, job gains occurred in government, healthcare, social assistance, and construction, which basically means government spending, and more bullshit government spending. And that's the old thing, like you can't print prosperity. You know, like what's GDP? The government pays someone to dig a ditch, pays someone else to fill it in. GDP. Woo. Get that thing there. So anyway, so that's what the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Fed's preferred gauge to measure inflation, dropped recently. The headline PCE inflation rate slowed to 2.6 from 2.7, which came in line with estimates. The annual core PCE also dropped to 2.6 from 2.8%. With inflation and labor market slowing, the CME FedWatch tool now indicates the probability of a 25 basis point rate cut in September. I think sooner. We'll see. The Fed, I think Jerome Powell needs just something to save face. The Canadian government just cut, even though they had better than expected job growth. The Europeans are cutting rates. So what, like, they're all just going in reverse because, and also none of these rates cut really matter, but they matter more from an actual central bank rather than the Fed. Again, the Fed's, mostly propaganda, but it is what it is. Federal Reserve Bank of New York President John Williams said that the cooling inflation is good news, but the uncertainty remains as inflation is still above the target rate. The made up 2% target rate that they pulled out of their ass, not them even, but that was pulled out of the first central bank's ass many, many years ago with no real kind of reasoning behind it. It just felt like 2%. 2% feels okay. 2% is fine. Do you know that 2% inflation rate over 20 years cuts your buying power in half? That's no bueno. So then when you start thinking about how much money you have to retire, well, you need, if you think you're going to live 40 more years, you need 4 times as much. So if you thought $1 million would cut it, and you think you're going to live 40 more years, now you need 4 million to equal that same 1 million of buying power. And some of you might think, oh, mate, that's probably why all these houses keep going up. And yet, like, it never made sense. Oh, why are houses 4 times more expensive in 40 years? It's not because the house is more miraculous. It's not because that old wood is now valuable. It's because the dollar is worth a quarter of what it was. So you're not getting these people like, oh, look how much I made on my house. You didn't make shit. You just didn't lose. Now, you could say I made money because not only did I not lose money on my money, but I kind of technically lived for free. Fair argument. I would agree with that. But it's not like you're some fucking guru because you bought a house and it went up. All of this shit goes up unless you live in some like war zone like Detroit. It all goes up because your money's not worth anything. Because all night long, through non-judicial review and banking action, banks lending cash and credit into society, the dollar becomes less because there's more dollars fighting over the same or, nearly the same amount of resources, or per capita the same amount of resources. So if the resources are finite and the currency units are infinite, you have debasement. Debasement. And that's where you go if you're bad. You go to debasement. Go to the basement. Hi, kitty. Okay, I'm not going to do many more hypercycle questions now because let's get behind the wall and do all that kind of stuff. Because I'm seeing the same questions over and over and it's driving me mad and I don't want to talk about that stuff. Okay. You guys got to do some research for yourself. Especially if the research was answered earlier in the same episode that you're watching. Neil has claimed it. Neil has decreed it. So it shall be done. Behind the wall we go. For everyone else, we'll see you next week. For those of you that are digital investors, digital private clients, good times are to be had. Then I can really use profanity. So I guess I really already did, but I can really, really, really. So let's see.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.